Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to crack the code on a process that is, let's be honest, a massive headache for anyone who has to deal with official paperwork across borders. If you've ever tried to use a U.S. document in another country, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and this explainer is for you. So let's start with a situation that is super common. Picture this. You've got a perfectly legal, official U.S. birth certificate, or maybe a university diploma, or a power of attorney. It's totally valid here. But then you take it to a foreign government, and they just look at it and say, nope, not good enough. So what's the deal? Well, the answer is a little thing called an apostille. The best way to think of it is like a passport for your paperwork. It's this special, internationally recognized seal that basically tells every other country, hey, you can trust this. This document is the real deal. Okay, so let's dig into that a little more. To really get a handle on this, we need to understand what an apostille actually is and, why this whole system even exists in the first place. So here's the most important thing to get straight. An apostille does not, I repeat, does not verify the actual content of your document. It's not checking if the facts on your diploma are correct. All it does is verify the signature on the document. It's just a fancy way of confirming that the notary or the public official who signed it is legit. So where did this whole idea even come from? Well, it's all thanks to something called the Hague Convention. Think of it like this. A whole bunch of countries got together and said, you know what? This process is way too complicated. Let's agree on one simple, uniform system to make life easier for everybody. And that's how the apostille was born. And knowing about this convention makes a world of difference. See, if your document is going to a country that's part of the Hague Club, the process is incredibly easy and streamlined. You get one certificate, the apostille, and that's it, you're done. But if it's headed to a non-Hague country, well, you're looking at a much longer, more complicated journey called authentication. Now, I know this might still sound a little tricky. You've got Hague, non-Hague, state documents, federal documents. It feels like a lot. But here's the secret. There's one simple cheat code that makes all of this just click into place. It is so easy to get lost in the weeds here, right? You're probably thinking, where do I even start? Do I go to a state office, a federal one? It feels like there are a million different paths to take. But it's actually not that complicated at all. In fact, if you can just answer one single question, you will know exactly what to do every single time, no matter what kind of document you have. And this is it. This is the cheat code. It's not about what the document is. It's not about the country it's going to. Not really. It is all about who signed it. That one little piece of information dictates the entire process. And the answer to that question, who signed it, is almost always going to be in one of three people: a public notary, some kind of state official like a county clerk, or a federal official from an agency like the FBI. All right, enough theory, let's put this code to work. Let's run through a couple of real-world examples and see exactly how this plays out. Okay, check this out. Let's say your document was signed by a notary or a state official, like a birth certificate that was issued in Texas. It has to be processed by the Secretary of State in Texas. It's all tied to the state where that signature happened. But what if it's an FBI background check signed by a federal official? Then you skip the state level completely. It has to go straight to the U.S. Department of State in D.C. See? The signer tells you the path. So what happens with those countries that aren't part of the Hague Agreement? Well, the cheat code still works, but the path just has a few more steps because there's no streamlined process. And here's what that looks like. For a state-level document, you still start at the state office, but then it has to get sent to the U.S. Department of State for a federal certification, and you're still not done. Finally, it has to go to the specific embassy for the country it's headed to for one last stamp of approval. So, yeah, it's a three-step dance instead of a single step. Okay, let's pull all this together. To wrap things up, here is your quick and dirty checklist to make sure you nail this every single time. Before you do anything, and I mean anything, ask these 5 questions. Is the destination country part of the Hague Convention? Who signed the document? What kind of document is it? Is the notarization done correctly? And how fast do you need it? Answering these questions up front is going to save you so much time and so many headaches. And you should be ready for the costs. It's definitely not just one flat fee. You've got processing fees at the state level, sometimes the federal level,
shipping costs, and for those non-Hague countries, remember, you've got separate fees for each of those steps, including that final embassy legalization. It can absolutely add up.
So, if you only take one single thing away from this whole explainer, please let it be this. Always, always come back to this one question. Who signed the document? That's it. That's the key. It is the cheat code that unlocks the whole process and tells you exactly which path to follow. You start there, and I promise you cannot go wrong. Look, at the end of the day, figuring this stuff out isn't just about getting through red tape. When you understand the process, you turn this giant bureaucratic hurdle into a simple, manageable step. And that opens up a whole world of possibilities for work, for study, or for starting a new chapter of your life abroad. The paperwork doesn't have to be the thing that stops you.